on Comcast channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.
Barbara Rinkunas, Exeter Historical Society.
Jonathan Ring, member at large.
Caroline Neal, Exeter Parks and Rec representative.
Special guest.
Joe Stagno, Exeter resident.
Thank you. Karen Pryor, Chair and Representative of American Independence Museum.
Susan Draper, Exeter resident.
Joe Pace, Executive Director at the American Independence Museum, Exeter.
We can, if people want notes and, hi Melissa.
Good morning, I'm so sorry.
That's all right, don't apologize. Melissa Roy is joining us today, Assistant Town Manager.
Anyone else?
And we have copies of paperwork if people want it. Okay, next up, can we review and approve the meeting minutes of August 19th? I had some stuff. I'll give everybody a minute to take a look. I need a point of clarification though, and actually since Julie's not here, maybe you can answer. Are we considered commissioners or members?
Your members.
That's what I thought.
Committee members.
That's what, okay.
Want all of this too?
It was noted in our minutes, we're being called commissioners, and I just want to clarify that, we're committee members.
250.
Yeah, that's what I assumed,
I
but
think it would be members.
yes, I would agree. Okay, thank you. Okay. I had in the first paragraph, I didn't understand what AIF was until I read through it again. I think that means American Independence Festival. So that was a point of clarification. And then also in that third paragraph, it's not the first installment of the Bill of Rights, it's the first amendment. Am I getting that right, Joe?
Well, it's the first installment of the Bill of Rights series.
Series, okay.
You see what I'm saying? Like it's
Okay, oh, for this museum, okay. Okay, where? Fourth paragraph, yeah. Bless you. Thank you. Yep.
So you want me to add series?
I can make these corrections, you don't need to worry about that, I've already kind of marked it up, so we'll give you a bit of a, cause I'll make the edits since Francois is not able to join us. Adding the word, an email address is needed, that's page 2. Fifth paragraph, not select, and I'm gonna change that to select board. And I also wanted to get a point of clarification. Caroline noted the select board have stated that the 250 Celebration Commission could raise up to $55,000. I think what we need to do is clarify that I'm not gonna even get this out right, I'm sure, but that while we can fundraise, and again, Julie's not here, but maybe you can help with.
This is actually what I'd love to chat with you guys
Which
about.
we will, right, but
yeah.
is there a way, all right, we can
I can, yeah, I don't.
you don't have, it's okay, I can,
Thank you.
it's on page 2.
Page 2.
Yeah, or page 2, where it's down, a discussion on the budget ensued, and we will move right into the budget after we approve these minutes, but raise up to $55,000, I don't.
So it would be, do you mean that it could be on a warrant for up to 50, so it would be appropriate up to 55,000, is that?
No, that we're talking about, I can fix it, it's
Okay.
about fundraising, and because then it's about if we raise more, so yes, it's about, we'll get to it. It's about the appropriation, but then it's also having to do with our fundraising, right? So yeah, I need to fix that, all right. Did anyone have anything else?
Barbara's name is just misspelled in this last. Barbara.
Oh, Barbara.
Barbara.
That's a new one. Where are you?
Right before meeting adjourned, 11:10.
Oh, we
that
can
might
fix
just be a
that.
way for you to get out and take these minutes.
Yeah, where is this Barbara?
Well, and I also think too, talks about, if we move up on the page, talks about a youth parade on July 10th took place, an all-wheels parade. Actually, the parade's on the 11th. We had talked about the decorating on the 10th. Isn't that what we talked about? Have the kids come down on the 10th to decorate?
Yeah,
Isn't that
I
right?
think that's what I remember.
Okay, so it was to decorate, and then they would participate in the parade on the 11th, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, all right. That's all I had. Does anyone have anything else? Me and my little red pen. No? Okay. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
So moved.
Second? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Good. All right. Let's move on to Melissa Roy. Melissa, thank you for joining us today. Yeah, we kind of gotten ourselves in the weeds on talking about the budget and how to communicate that properly, and I think the minutes reflect that too in terms of how we want to be able to discuss it with the larger community, on and on and on.
So I am emailing with Gabe, who's doing the video recording, to try to see if I can shoot something from my computer up to here. But while he responds to me, let me just chat with you about oh good, Julie, come on over. So what I asked if it would be okay if I joined you folks, so thank you for coming. One of the things that I had a concern about was that you guys were great. You did the budget, the logos are wonderful. I've been listening to the meetings, and when you guys presented to the select board, it sounded like you guys were looking for an appropriation of about $55,000 through a town warrant. And as I started paying a little bit more attention, I was like, oh, I don't think they actually need $55,000. It was that if you were to total up all of the events and all of the costs, that would be $55,000. Some of them already live in Park and Rec's budget, so we wouldn't need to add them twice. And some of them you had mentioned you wanted to fundraise for. So I was hoping that I could, that's what I said.
how to cook it up if you just.
No, I know how to do this, but I didn't know if excuse me one second, I didn't know if it was gonna make the streaming stop. That's why I said, can I just plug it into the HDMI? So that's what I apologize. Usually I'm used to being able to just throw in the HDMI, and then I thought, oh man, I might be shutting the meeting off. So what I was hoping to do was chat with you folks about the events and where their pots of money were gonna lie, because I'd like to see you guys be successful. It's such a wonderful thing, and talk to you about what events already are funded or where you were looking for, or ask you a little bit about what your plans for fundraising were, because I think that's the story to get out to help you be more successful when we go to warrant. Because my concern is if we put a warrant article on and it's $55,000, that with the budget being the difficult in the economy and all that, that maybe people would vote no, and I would really like that not to happen for you. Right. So I figure if we can maybe explain it a little bit, that would be really great. So Gabe has not responded, but he should respond.
So maybe, does everyone are looking at the budget? I think we should be doing that.
So I did I took the budget that Francois, because Julie was nice enough to share it, and then I met with Caroline, and Caroline and I went into my office, and she explained a little bit more. So once I can throw it up on the screen, which should just be a minute, I wanted to do a few things. I wanted to define, is it a new or an existing event, right? Because some of them are existing events that you guys, I loved your explanation of being like a spoke, and you guys were the hub of like all of these things were coming through you, but they weren't all necessarily.
And this is only to be honest, we need to solidify what those 2 weeks are gonna look like, because before we can go out to other collaborators, we need to have that in place, right? And then each of us are gonna, we'll all take our turns in just having communications and with other potential organizations or whatever.
Yeah, no, I thought that was great. Yeah. So defining if it's a new and existing event, who the lead organization is, because I think that's also going to help sort of define when people are going to look to vote at the budget, that kind of thing. And then saying, is this a dollar amount that needs to go on the separate warrant article? So does everybody understand the $5,000 in the non-capital reserve that was started last year?
Yes.
Okay, so in order to add more money to that, thank you, Gabe, I'm so sorry. I just realized if I plugged into the HDMI, I didn't know if I would shut the whole meeting down.
I did respond.
Oh,
it just never came through.
Sorry. Gabe, this is our 250th. Gabe saves us from everything.
Yeah, they know.
Yeah. I just want to try to get that to be up there so I can show. Sorry.
Okay, so this is
Saves us
only
from
on Excel and
ourselves
not.
sometimes.
It's not, but I can do whatever. I just wanted to. This is just an example of what I was talking about.
Can you email it to me?
Absolutely. Are you, okay, and then can I control it with the mouse?
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm sorry, everybody.
Please don't apologize, it's fine.
All right, so let me just email this to you. Because I feel like I'm not explaining it very well at the moment.
No,
so
you're
hopefully
making
this
a reasonable amount of sense.
hopefully this makes a little more sense when I show it to you. Okay, good. And I hit refresh, so it should send.
I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. Are you feeling yucky too?
It's ragweed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, it's just worse.
Yeah. It's just my itchy ears and.
That's not the yellow, that's the golden one, right? The yellow.
I'm allergic to both, so I don't, I don't know.
All this
Might be
stuff
going
bad
on.
this year.
Yeah.
And it makes you tired too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Exhausted.
My eyes have been like, oh.
My son is running cross country for the first time, and I didn't even think about, he's like wildly allergic.
Oh,
Like,
Lord.
oh, this might have been a bad choice.
That's how I discovered I was allergic when I was like 16 during preseason for field hockey, and I was like, why can't I breathe? I was like, this is like really bad.
I love that you play field hockey. I got my daughter to finally
Yeah.
try it this year because I played it.
It's my
And she was
absolute
like,
favorite.
I'm a basketball person, but this is my second
Yeah.
favorite. So the fact that she's given it a shot, I'm quite excited.
I definitely disappointed my dad because he was a big soccer guy, so he was disappointed, but I love field
It's not
hockey.
working?
Yeah. So weird.
Do you need batteries? Pam has
I
batteries.
just switched out a battery in Christina's office. There.
Perfect. Gabe, thank you so much.
Yep.
So we'll keep talking while Gabe's finishing that. But so what I did was I worked with Caroline and we took all of the events that you guys had mentioned and used Francois' budget and we just defined them a little bit more. I thought that was a great starting point. These are all the things we want to do. And now we just need to say, okay, how are we funding them or what are we doing? Because I got concerned that there was misinformation going about, and I was like, well, no, I don't think that's what they're asking for. And if that is what you guys are asking for, that's great. I will help and support and all of that. But I think it's just the funding sources are getting a little fouled up.
Okay.
Good luck.
Almost there.
We're so close.
Google Chrome's trying to get me to customize
I
my
know.
homepage right now.
Okay.
So go to sheet 1, because I actually just, yeah, there you go. Perfect. And oh, you're the best. Thank you.
very much, Gabe.
So all the Caroline and I did, I know, there was Caroline, and I'm gonna make it little just so you can see it, and then I'll make it bigger. But basically, all we did was we took the event budget that you had, and we broke it up into sort of, this is, please work for me. This was 2025. This is your PR, your printing, stuff you guys are working on now. And then we said, okay, 2026, these are the events or dates of things that at this point, and I know you might add to them,
Sure.
but at this point, and I didn't get to finish it completely, but what we're kind of talking about. And so what I had Caroline explain to me a little bit was, okay, let's start off. She said this, and if anything's incorrect, just, let me know, but this is what you guys are considering your kickoff event, which is sort of the start of your 2-week thing, which is the Black Hawk event, I believe, and you guys might invite some of the delegation and have some speeches and that kind of stuff. And so we said, okay, she had mentioned that there might be like a paratrooper drop that you guys were thinking about. We talked about a flag ceremony, so what do we need for that? Some audio equipment, podium, maybe passing out some 4th of July, I'm gonna say 4th of July, which I know is not the right word, but you know what I'm saying.
Patriotic swag.
Patriotic, there we go, patriotic swag. Some staff volunteered, do we need a police detail? She mentioned maybe you guys were thinking about touch a truck down there at the same time, which I think is really neat. And federal delegation. And so what we did was we said, okay, is this a new or existing event? Well, this is technically an existing event. You guys are just expanding on it. Who's the lead? Well, Park and Rec usually runs this. And again, this can all be changed, but we were just trying to define things a little better. And okay, so then we looked at line item for the budget. Caroline had mentioned that she thought There was a discussion about paratroopers coming in, like parachuting down, maybe that was like $5,000. I don't know if that's what you still want to do. But was that going to be committee fundraising? Or was that going to be a warrant? So the way that this works is column A is what we would need to put on the warrant, like that we know we need the town to help support. Column J is this already lives somewhere else in our budget, either in the park and rec budget or in the general fund budget under, I was thinking of like the summer concerts or under recreation and something else. I can never remember what the selectmen's, yeah. So it's in a, but you guys don't have to, yeah, special events, thank you. So those things already exist, you're adding on to them, right? So, and then this was, all right, we're going to commit to fundraising X. And then what's the total budget event for the actual event, right? And so that's kind of how we looked at things. And then Francois seemed to have like an actual year to date. She looked like she wanted to use this as like a budgeting sheet as the year went on. Right. So I did just leave that there, but this was just.
I don't know why we need 2 columns for that.
I wasn't sure, but I figured she would be able to explain it. So we can adjust this any way you want. And these were just quick numbers. So I don't know if this is, okay, we would like the town to consider paying 50% and we'll fundraise 50%. That's what you guys are gonna sort of decide.
Okay.
But what I think is getting confusing is this total budget number was being used when talking to the paper or the select board, rather than saying some of this is already paid for somewhere else, or some of this is being fundraised, or whatever the case may be. And I think it wasn't like a true representation of everything you guys were doing.
Well, and I think what this also does, and you're right, I think what this also does is gives us the opportunity as we look for sponsorships to target more specifically, right? So, you know, it's like, oh, I'm just making this up, but would so-and-so business like to sponsor our paratroopers at the Blackhawk for X number of dollars?
Correct.
So it's much more specific as opposed to just throwing it in a giant bucket.
Yeah, and I didn't fill all the numbers in. That's not my, I didn't want to speak for anybody. We just took what we had already, but I'll move to the brass band. The brass band amounts are already in our town operating budget. So what I think you guys really wanted to say was you'd like to add, let's say, popsicles for 300 people, right? That's your add-on. But the event itself is already paid, and I didn't put it here, I put 4,000. It's already paid for under our general town budget. So that was what I was worried, was your add-ons were the whole cost rather than these are just the add-on things we want to do to make these right. And if I understood correct, you guys wanted to do just add-ons on the first 2 of the brass concert. I wasn't sure. That's what I could. Okay, so I just put them in so that people could see, you know, yes, this event still exists and you can put it on your calendar, but we're not adding anything on those days. And this needs to probably be jazzed up a little bit. The other thing I saw was, you know, tune and fork. Well, Exeter Park and Rec already does tune and fork, so you shouldn't have to have, you see what I'm saying?
Right, the 55,000 is reflective of everything, including what's already built in. So what we really need to fundraise for is significantly less.
I think so, and that's why I wanted to come and ask you folks if I was understanding that correctly.
No, you absolutely.
And if it is, then let's get that story out a little bit better for you guys, because I think that would be, you know, a little better for you. So for example, on Tune and Fork, we just said, okay, the band concert, or the band cost is already in Park and Rec. You guys don't have to fund for that. Oh, there we go. I use patriotic giveaways there. And I have what Oriental Trading is for those of us that do event planning. That's like the company that we get like all kinds of little things for. And that was my note to Caroline, that that's probably a good place that we do that. So please excuse me. That's a location. So none of these numbers need to stay. I'll send this to your committee and you guys, you know, work on it or whatever. The movie night. So the movie night rental, we think will be somewhere in the $700 to $800, which is the license, because we have to have a license to show it. And Caroline said Park and Rec already does that as one of their events. So what you guys would need to do is popcorn and popcorn bags. It's very different costs when we start to break out the funding sources.
So as we build, I just want to be clear, as we build this budget, and I think, well, that's a separate, what you send us, could it include what is already covered.
So that's
what would be helpful.
That's what I would like to finish with Caroline. We started, and I apologize, I'm wearing about 100 hats right at the moment, so this is as far as I got.
Right.
But I just wanted to show you that I think, like Thursday night band concerts with Park and Rec, I didn't get to start putting the dates, but some of that already lives in Park and Rec, right? So it's the delta that we're looking for you folks, and then any additional. So one of the things that's new is a clam bake. I do have some questions on this one, but Caroline was giving me, she thought that I think some of the costing was about $84 per person, but that didn't include, tablecloths and table and chair rental or bar service, or if you needed, I don't know what your event is going to look like, where it's going to be. I did event planning for a long time, so Caroline, this is like what I love to do, Caroline, and I
you want to do it?
I can't add that to my list at the moment.
I'm teasing you, I know, so I get it.
Things like trash removal, decorations, entertainment. If you have alcohol at an event, it needs to be snow fenced in because of the liquor license. So some of those things, I don't know what your scope is, but I was having a conversation with Corey today, and I said, Corey, they're doing a ticketed event. So to me, that money, we were talking about maybe, and I will say this, I do have to speak to Greg about this concept I'm about to propose, but as long as it doesn't hurt the rec revolving account, if it was a ticketed event, what I think we could do is put a section in the rec revolving account that shows the revenue coming in for the ticket and the expenses, so that we have an in and out location for that. It's okay because it's self-supporting. So as long as we have to get more information. I'm gonna put that out there, but I think that that's a way to deal with the ticketed event.
That makes sense. It's like any ticketed event that we run.
It's just like a program.
Yeah.
Hi, I'd like to do arts in the park. It's $60 and it goes into a fund, and it costs $50 a person. So we spend the $50 out of the per. So I think that might be a way to do that, because when I was thinking of the clam bake, I don't want to, even just off the top, if it's $25,000, I don't want to put that on the warrant because it makes it seem like we're spending $25,000 on a clam bake, but what we can't show on the warrant is the revenue coming in for it.
So it's really all the other pieces.
So some of the other pieces, and then I think once you folks finish this out, like your parade, what day it is, what you're doing, all this is what needs to be filled out. The intern, I heard a lot of conversation about the intern. I think assigning the intern to a department so that they have HR and town rules and policies. So under Park and Rec, again, I need to double check with Greg. I don't want to speak out of term because it's Greg's department, but I think the intern lying there would be great. Like even if we still funded it here, but just from like a process perspective of who they report to, who signs their, their leave slips and not leave slips, but payroll and all that jazz. So I was hoping if I send this to you folks, maybe in some of your upcoming meetings soon, you could work to kind of itemize this a little bit better.
No, I think this will be a great tool, and I really, really appreciate the clarification. And I think once we know what's already being covered, we're going to get to a much better number, which is going to be much more reasonable. And, one of our discussions too, and it's a big one, is this is my personal opinion, so this is not, I'm not putting this out as, I think, to be honest, our ability to fundraise is going to be limited. I really don't see a lot of us going out, and I think it'll happen maybe some organically if people, but I don't see a lot of, door knocking. I also want to be really concerned. This is a 1 year, one-time thing. I think the opportunity for us to have Exeter be much more of a destination in terms of the Revolutionary War capital, and obviously wanting to get AIM much more strongly embedded in the community is wonderful. But I'm personally, and maybe this is a conflict of interest for me, I'm on the board of AIM. And as a development person, long term, that's where I'm personally going to want to fundraise for. I'm just putting that out there. So for me to go knocking on someone, some business door and say, hey, I'm a little worried about our fundraising capacity, to be honest. I don't think many of you are gonna want, I don't know. I mean, I don't wanna speak for you. I think we can do some, but, so it's nice that the number will be significantly lower.
I think that's a really fantastic question. So if I can talk to AIM Festival for a minute, because I saw that there was the potential of a $5,000 sponsorship. I was wondering if I could reframe that in a certain way, and I don't know if that's something I can ask Joe. I would love to see it be the festival. I'm just going to use an example. We used to have reenactors. Let's say that cost $5,000. If you were putting the money towards a piece of the festival, I think it would be better rather than just a check to the festival. Like if there's something that the committee can sponsor specifically or take part of, then, because we don't typically, we give donations or sponsorship through the human funding, but we wouldn't typically do it in this sense. So I was thinking if there was something that could be defined that could be paid for as a way to enhance. I think I saw in an article you guys lost the money for your village, Artisans Village.
Right.
So maybe it's the town AIM Festival wants to, or we want to bring back the Artisan Village and we're going to put $5,000 towards it, or we're going to bring the reenactors back. But I think because your transparency, right? We have some of your board members on the select board, and I'm trying to protect everybody.
Right.
Because I think if it's a defined item and the public doesn't think it's just something else, I think that would be an easier way for the board to support it, that they don't feel like there's a conflict.
I really appreciate all the transparency. I mean, that, and I don't think there was ever an intention not to be transparent. I think we're still kind of figuring all of this out.
Yeah.
But again, by clarifying it all to us is going to help us clarify it to the general public. And I mean, it's really unfortunate that the New Hampshire State Council on the Arts has been completely defunded. Yeah. And Joe, I can't remember how much did you get from
$6,400.
So that's not,
With five, yeah, we could, I mean,
does that seem a reasonable, shifting that five to sort of replace?
I think that's more the narrative makes sense where you said, this was something that was publicly funded before, and the state has stepped away from that obligation, but the town is willing to sponsor it this year. I think that's the sort of thing you could do.
I just would love the narrative to just be that we're doing a specific something so that people don't think not that you're not wonderful, and I'm sure your salary needs to be paid, but that way people vote in the voting box that it's for something, I think would be great.
And also
that's just one person's opinion.
The sponsorship should be from this committee, not from the town.
That's great.
I'd have to think about that.
Okay.
But I'm sure, because everything
I just don't want to start that, hey, we're 501c3 too, so
yes, correct. So we'll look at that.
We'll frame that properly, right?
So if you think that the Artisans Village might be a good place, maybe that's what we start putting in there, that we're going to help support bringing back the Artisans Village. You folks are going to bring that back as like a collaboration.
Yeah, and I would call it sustaining it, because it hasn't gone. We did do it this year.
Sustaining,
Some reenactors we continue to have.
Yeah.
So it would be a way for us to, because we are always looking for ways to continue to fund those. So I think that's a very elegant solution.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Great.
That feels really good.
All right. I don't think I had anything else, just seeing if we can put a little bit of not parameters, but just some more details into it and then get you to a final number. But one thing, actually, I take that back, one more thing. So how is the fundraising going to work? Because you are on AIM, you just one person, I know not everybody. So I would hate to see you fundraising for AIM and then John going somewhere and you guys are crisscrossing. So have you guys chatted about that?
Not figured all that out.
Not yet, okay.
No.
Probably out of going door to door.
Okay.
No,
so
we
this
have
might
not.
be helpful if
This
you
will
know
be
some of the costs of each event, and if you'd like to be like a lead sponsor.
Exactly right.
We have maybe we can share with them the Park and Rec sponsorship, and you could define categories of.
Yeah, we
That
have
we
one
have.
going.
Oh, you do, okay.
We do have that.
Great.
But I think this is gonna help us have a much better tool.
Fantastic.
Right. I do have one question though, because it came up, and it does have to do with Park and Rec and actually the role that Caroline's playing, because we couldn't, I mean, you're doing a heavy lift and representing Park and Rec, and it's amazing. I don't know how they do what they do with so few people. But I just want to be clear with that too, because I felt like at the select board meeting, there was some pushback, not understanding really Caroline's role here. And unless I'm getting it wrong, it's not unlike the budget in that much of all of this is already built in, and as is Caroline's time because of her role as a staff member of Park and Rec.
And I can help explain that a little bit more if there was some confusion, because I think this is what's gonna help, is when you look at this list and you only see, hey, look, we're taking 6 events that already happen, we're improving them or enhancing them, but in regards to all brand new events, there's only 3 or 4 or something like that. So I can help have the board, if they have questions about that. Caroline and Greg and I have chatted that I can't have Caroline be at every single event, which you guys already look like you're divvying things up. And if it were me and I were doing this and I had a committee, I would define each event and then have someone on the committee be a lead for each of that event and, you know, kind of do those things. But you guys aren't there yet, so I'm saying things that we're not even close to. But I think you're gonna get there. You have great volunteers on this group, and I think you'll be fine.
But I also think too, I mean, our idea was really to frame those 2 weeks, and we don't want to create a lot of new stuff.
Yeah.
Really, what we want to serve as framing what we are going to do, much of it which is already existing. It's just a rebrand, right? And even as we go out to the community, it's really already events that they're doing, again, a rebranding. So, you know, yeah.
I think it'll be great. One question that I had was the parade. Is it living on the same day as the festival? Because that's a really busy day. Is that, or what is the plan there? I had been watching the meetings, but I wasn't quite sure if that got defined yet.
Seems like it's the first day of the festival.
So I
That's
thought
what we talked about last time, right?
Yeah.
The first day of the festival in the morning.
First day of the festival, like Saturday morning?
Festival's still only going to be one day, or is it you talking about expanding it to
We're
2?
talking about whether or not we want to expand it into the overnight with the encampments and stuff, but that's going to come down to availability, funding, and other things. But relative to the parade being in the morning, festival begins at 10, so the parade could be finished by then.
Okay.
That's the goal.
I think, if I may, just suggesting a route that maybe either comes down Water Street and comes up this way so you can see that, something that you're not too close to your artisans village, but you guys probably already
We talked about Gale Park.
Yeah, like SST to the bandstand.
Okay, and ending at the
Or
bandstand.
Center Street.
Or Center Street.
Yeah. So the idea that
Which would have it dumping out right where
Exactly.
the festival is. The reason we bought the bandstand was because then, as a
It's a
marching
bigger buffer.
band. Yeah.
Yeah.
We also need space for, like, if there are floats or where does the band get picked up, and
that's
that's a consideration.
I was going to say the library, but it's Saturday, so the library's open.
Yeah.
Swing down here.
Yeah, I think there's a way to do it. I might suggest grabbing someone from police and fire, Caroline, because I think it would be good if you and I can try to finish this for their next meeting. And maybe we can look at some routes, just again, you do event planning. I know you'll, just from our event planning, public safety hat, and give you guys some options if we could do that. So it's sort of like the lead-in to get everybody to town for the festival. Is that sort of what I'm sort of gathering? Okay, great. Okay. If you end up going on your second day, that could be a way to get people to show up on your second day. But if you're only on one day, then not there yet. I don't think.
Not there yet.
Fair enough. Understood. Okay. That's really all I had, and I was just going to listen to your rest of your meeting. But
Thank you so very much. We really appreciate it. And I think, it brings a lot of clarity for me. Does anyone have any questions and thoughts? Yeah, please.
If we are fundraising, I think Julia had brought this up when she was at one of the meetings. Where do they send a check? I mean, who does it go to? Where does that
So
money
I
get
can speak
spent?
to that, and and you know what, I will share that out actually in the next packet. Corey wrote to me and gave me a whole way of how it's done and how we write out the checks and where it lives and I don't think.
So you will update us at the next meeting?
Yes.
Good enough.
I have a couple of things. I got pushback on the select board about the 4,000 for the tent, why it's so much, and then the intern. And have we done anything to get an intern? And I spoke about that with, I don't know if I spoke with you or you.
Both of us, yeah.
Because Parks and Rec gets an intern every year, at least one. And whether or not this committee would pay for the time that we use them, the 2 or 3 weeks that we need them for set up and take.
We're gonna need them for more than that, because I think this is a discussion, but what we talked about at our last meeting was that the idea of the intern being coming under the umbrella of Park and Rec. Joe did send me the job descriptions, which I haven't had a chance to draft out and work through with Caroline yet, but the job descriptions that Amy uses for interns, which I think that, and coordination, things like that. But I think I'd like to see us use them, because we are a small committee, to fill in some of those slots there in terms of volunteer. And when we talked about the money for that position, it actually was less than 10. It was, when we crunched the numbers, it was 7 based on the internships that Park and Rec currently has.
And do we have it signed up yet?
What?
Do you have an intern signed up yet?
Oh, no.
We haven't even written the job description.
So Parks and Rec recruits in like January through March, because that's when there's a major at UNH called Program and Event Management. That's what my degree is in. And that's when they're out looking for internships for the summer. So we generally recruit between January and March, and usually line up our interns for the summer.
So that's,
I gotta ask that question.
so that's what we're gonna do, is that we're gonna piggyback on what Park and Rec in the process, what they're doing, and I think that'll be much easier and it'll be more like one stop. I mean, and frankly, Park and Rec will, some number of us can play a role in the vetting of that candidate, but working again with Park and Rec, I think that's where it really should live.
Is the select board concerned that we might not be able to get an intern and then this could all fall through?
Yeah.
Okay. But you sound like, Caroline, that this is a program that there's always interns, you don't have.
We always get interns.
There's always some sucker.
Yeah. This year we had fantastic interns. All 3 were, 5 stars.
So you're confident we're gonna be able to find someone?
Yes.
You're in the biz, which
I'm in the bit, yeah.
Well, and then I had the question of should we partially fund that person because of events that are not part of Parks and Rec?
Yeah, so we definitely have to talk about that. The first question I have, Caroline, when you did the budget, did you do just an hourly rate? Did you add FICA, Medi? Did you add the entire cost of the intern?
I don't remember, to tell you the truth.
So I can help you from an HR standpoint in actually getting the full cost of the 10 weeks.
I know what we pay our interns, so I think I used.
But this is an additional body. I mean, it's not, so if Park and Rec generally has 3 interns to do the work that they do, this is an additional body.
Correct, yes.
Specifically for the 250.
At least from the standpoint of what I've been seeing in your meetings,
Right.
that seems to be what you guys are.
We're not trying to steal one of Park and Rec's interns.
Okay.
This is so complicated.
Will that answer their questions?
It's not too bad. I think if the staff, if you can get all the answers that way, that's what we do every day. So for us, we could probably bang it out in a few hours because this is what we do every day. But yeah, no worries. The tent, that was a question that I had. So when I looked at the clan bake.
Where did you get that from?
No, that's okay. So tents are really expensive, right? And I think my understanding was it came from the idea of the clan bake being rain or shine. You may want to consider a rain date instead, and you would save a lot of money, because when I started doing some of the numbers with Caroline, the tickets are going to be quite expensive per person, and that's without even fundraising. It's just the cost. Swayze's a really beautiful place to have an event, but it's an expensive place to have events. So
Because of the tent cost. And restrooms and all that other ancillary.
restrooms, there's not hand washing stations. There, it's doable. I mean, I love having Swayze, but to have such a large event down there, you may save yourself some money if you consider it as a rain date instead of a tent.
Okay.
I know that's what Portsmouth did for their 400th. Yeah, they reserved 2 dates.
Let's do that.
Okay.
That would be my vote. How do other people
I'm not on
feel?
the committee. These are just suggestions,
Yeah,
you guys.
Barbara,
We don't
John,
have 2 rainy days.
Julie.
Yeah.
Well, the Fosters can do that.
Reach out?
Yeah.
Okay. So pending rain date.
Oh, that's a good idea.
My other thing with the clam bake is that once we book it, we're gonna have to put a deposit down. So, where's that coming from?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we need to know, Caroline had mentioned, this may be for another meeting, but Caroline had mentioned it was for 300 people. That's a lot of people. Is that the plan, 300?
I think that's what we discussed.
And I always,
250.
there you go, I like it.
Sweet.
Because a lot of times you'll pay, you have to decide if you're gonna let your volunteers eat, tables, chairs, all of that stuff. So that can be for another day. So depending on what the deposit is, if you can find out for me. I also made the suggestion of not putting them on the grass, tables and chairs with people sitting and eating, go right through the grass.
Yeah,
You
put
may
it on
do
the street,
parkway.
Yeah.
And you'll need to fence out if you're serving alcohol. If you're not serving alcohol, then you do not need to do that. But I believe Foster's is buffet, or is it plated service?
Family style?
Family style, okay. So you'll also need to get a permit from the health department for anybody servicing food in town. Caroline knows all this, so she'll be able to help. But yeah, I think just tweaking a little bit, a few of them to make them work a little bit better for you might save some
So
money.
just as a general, you said you've been watching all the meetings?
I think I missed one, but I have.
So you're welcome to come whenever you would like, but I also know that you're really, really
I
busy.
get to listen to them when I'm like driving to and from work and different
Nice,
things.
nice.
Killing two birds with one stone.
What I would like to request is if if there's things that you hear that come up, please filter them through to me anytime, because I think instead of getting to a place where there's miscommunication or we're getting things wrong, it would really be helpful. This has been hugely helpful. So that would be great if you wouldn't mind saying, hey Karen, I want to bring this up to the committee.
Happy to do that.
Yeah, that would be really, really helpful. Yeah, because we want to do this well. Okay, anything else anyone had? Did you have a question?
No, sorry.
You did?
Yes.
Sorry.
Say we have super success with going door to door, raising a lot of funds. What happens if we exceed what we need?
And I think that's what was in the minute, but the minutes
Yeah.
we're trying to talk about,
I said I have some ideas.
yeah. So, right, that's what was messed up in the minutes, that we had this threshold of what we needed to, what
If you
happens?
exceed what you have fundraised for, it would, I'm just trying to think of the way that the non-capital reserve fund is set up. I believe it sunsets, and you could either expand on what you're already doing, or it would go back to, because we're gonna have to put in a warrant for the next year to close the fund, so probably would go to the general fund. So that's why I think a very line item, and I'll say that I'll double check with Cory because I don't want to misspeak, but a line item budget where it's for this event will cost this. Would you like to be the gold sponsor? Would you like to sponsor this part of it? Just having a little bit more information so you don't go too much.
So let's say, I'm making this up, our total budget that we're putting to the select board for all the ancillary things is $20,000. Okay. And we raise, and so goes out on the warrant article is 20,000. the voters say, of course we would love to support the 250th and 20,000. Let's say we raise 10, we raise half of it. That 10,000 that is remaining that we don't need, let's see, I'm trying to think, to your point, we could expand on what we're doing. It's like, because the vote happens in March, right? So it still gives us that time if we wanted to add something or expand something or whatever, to spend the rest of the money.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Or, nope, this is where we're sitting, this is great, and it would just then go into, then where does it, that
My guess is that the warrant article authorizes the appropriation of up to $20,000. So then if the fundraising is 20, they don't appropriate anything. If the fundraising is 10, they appropriate 10.
So we often do that with grants.
Yeah.
Like if it's, we put in the whole amount of the grant has to be on, but it says if we receive a 50% grant, the amount will be X, or like Joe said, but a lot of times, like for example, the state requires us, it's $1 million grant, but we're gonna give you 700,000. We still have to put $1 million on the warrant, and we write in there, you know, if we get the grant, it will only spend.
Because they don't even raise the money till 6 months after the year.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
I'm sorry, you don't even raise the money until 6 months after the year is over.
It's not like we get a check as soon as, you know.
It all goes into the tax rate calculation.
Okay.
So it will be fine. I can get you a more eloquent answer to that, but Joe is correct. Essentially, we would write the warrant article to say up to this amount, hopefully offset by fundraising. And so then we only take out what we need or what is needed.
Okay, and then what's left goes back.
It just never gets spent.
It never gets raised.
We never take out money. We don't tax. We don't put it into the tax rate. So
what you're asking about is, so I think what you're asking is, if
I'm just thinking from an old fat mind.
If it's 20 and it's 20, fine, nothing happens. If it's 20 and it's 10, they raise 10 through the tax rate. If it's 20 and then we raise 30, you're at that question of, we've paid back the 20, we have this other 10 to play with, where we can burnish some of the events that are happening, or does it go into the general fund, which would theoretically mean that it would go probably back into the tax rate.
Fund base, excuse me.
Fund balance.
Fund balance, I just said base.
In the select board meeting that I watched when you presented this, Dan Chartrand made a comment about like the town's 400th coming up in 12 years. So if any additional funds that we raise were then just kind of set aside for
I love the idea. The only problem is when this it's a non-capital reserve fund was created. It was created specifically only for the 250th. So we could, when we go on the 27th, we could change the purpose. We could put that on the warrant and say, would you like to change the 250th to the 400th or whatever, but that's going to be sort of after the fact.
Let's not do that. I'll be really old by this. But I do have a favor, actually having, because there is respectfully sensitivity on the taxes right now and with what's going on with the budget, it would be really helpful to have a more eloquent answer.
Yes,
and that way then if we are queried by people, we're able to have the same voice sharing that.
You could say that the intent is for there to be no tax impact.
I think that will get you guys pretty far.
Is to authorize this as a backstop, but our plan is to fundraise the entire amount so that there will be no.
That's optimistic.
Well, yeah, but that's why you say it's the intent.
And that's
could you repeat that?
The intent is for this to have no tax impact.
I also think once we get through this line item budget, the benefit of doing this is for you also to have a little better understanding of what the tax impact may be of what you're proposing. And that's why if I can pull the clam bake, throw it through Park and Rec revolving, as long as that is legit.
That.
So then it doesn't look like you're spending $25,000 on the tax base, even though we know that it's some of this is perception and making sure we're running it through the right funds and making sure people understand that we're not adding $25,000 to your taxes. It's a ticketed event. So that's what my goal was coming here today, was saying if we can explain this in a little different way, I think you'll be a little more successful.
So I love what Joe said, but you can also give us something and we can tack that onto it too.
Absolutely.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, it makes sense to have the clam bake sponsored by the 250 in association, co-sponsored with Parks and Rec, because they know how to do it. They know how to pull that stuff off.
So yeah, as long as
That's great.
I just need to make sure that Greg and his
Yeah,
team
yeah.
are not, you know,
It's not official
overburdened. Yeah, overburdened or anything like that, but their knowledge base, just from an event planning standpoint, is
Absolutely.
fantastic, so. Okay.
Can I just put in there, if we end up with an excess, it would be really nice to donate or sponsor part of the Christmas parade. Because they are totally underfunded, and so, you know, not all of it, but some other amount.
Right, but doesn't that also go to we're kind of boxed in with how we are defined.
It is, because the way that we have to accept donations has to be for something specific because of the new donation and fundraising policy. So I will chat with Corey, but my understanding, because we just had to put this together, is there's a very specific way to accept those donations, which would not allow us to then give them to the Christmas parade. Sorry.
If I might be,
Your knowledge is very helpful, because I know you've done a lot of this and a lot of.
I was gonna ask what the current fund balance is.
So for this particular fund, I believe we started it at 5,000.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, Christmas fund?
No, the town fund balance.
Oh, the town fund balance, oh man, you're gonna put me on the spot. Corey and I just talked about this. We are at 5%.
Okay.
And
So you're within the recommended ratio?
Yes, we are within the GFO 5 to 17.
Okay.
We just got our audited numbers, so we're right at 5%.
So it's the low end of the ratio, okay.
We are, actually, I take that back. With his new numbers, I think we got up to 8% because there was some funding that had to get recategorized. So I will get that number for you though.
And you know why I asked the question?
This is all great to me.
Fund balance is basically the accrued surpluses over the years, because you can't run a deficit. So if you are surplus by $1, it adds up after 100 years to $100. And so, because it's illegal for towns to run a deficit, there's always this accrued fund balance. And there's very specific ways it can be spent. One way in which fund balances can be spent is they can offset warrant articles.
Correct.
So the select board, in theory, could say that this is an appropriate use of the accrued fund balance for $20,000 to have no tax impact because it's paid for by accumulated fund balance.
So that decision gets made, so Corey and I usually give recommendations, and then that goes to the select board to make that decision on where those things come from. But Joe is 100% right, and what we usually do is we look at our CIP, our budget, and then we determine, we'll use some of our fund balance to smooth the tax rate. We usually do that to try to not make it so jarring to everybody. And then we'll pick different projects that we think maybe are small enough that we could handle, like
And that
Joe
are
was
one-time
saying.
events.
That are one-time events. Joe,
So
I
that's-
could use you at a lot of my meetings. It's great.
I gave it the office. But this is one that it fits it checks a lot of the boxes for me for a fund balance warrant article.
It does. I just can't guarantee that because
No, I
it's
understand.
not my call, but Joe is 100% right. So we have the opportunity to either put it on as a warrant to be funded out of the tax base or to be funded out of fund balance.
Interesting.
I was just talking to Julie just now more than anybody else.
You said it much better than I would have.
So we are running way out of time, and I'm going to jump over, if people don't mind. Are we good with this?
Yeah.
I'm going to jump over past sponsorship opportunities, and really, I think what we need to talk about, which ties Em and Joe together, which is the logo. We really need to talk about that, because I'm going to give you the floor, Em, to talk about the pins.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Yeah, so we had been talking about doing a lapel pin, and I sort of got some idea of what we would be spending. So if we wanted to get 500 pins with the logo on it, the cost would be about $596. That includes setup fee and 500 pins. That cost would go down per unit if we ordered more, but that's kind of the general. We're looking at about just over $1 a pin. And these would be something that we could potentially sell as an item that would also generate some funds.
And you're talking about the nice little enamel.
Yeah, these are
metal
enamel
pins that have the
nice.
little push-through
With a
lapel.
push-through, yeah. Talking to them though, we would need to do a little tweaking on the logo, which I'm wondering if y'all wouldn't mind sending me the files you've used, just because I need to work with their artist a little bit on that, just to make sure that everything comes out okay.
I don't have those files. And, yeah.
Yeah, so any
But
files
you were
have.
also talking about trying, I mean, this is it, right?
That's the older one, I think, but.
Oh, okay.
So just with their artist, I'm gonna try and see if they can, what they might do is take the photo and make it, instead of a photo, actually a sketch of that, which will translate a little better onto the logo.
Okay.
And put kind of a background in place rather than the white, which will be a little easier for printing purposes. The other question I wanted to ask about, which is not logo related, but is logo related, is when I've been talking to people about, the 250, people are getting confused about, is it the town 250? And I'm like, no, it's America 250. And so I'm wondering if, instead of saying Exeter 250, which makes it sound like the town 250, we could say something like Exeter celebrates America 250, or America 250 with Exeter, New Hampshire, kind of like it is in this one
Yeah,
on the
I was just
bottom.
thinking that one says that, so.
Yeah, because people are getting really lost, because Amesbury just had their 250, and they think that means it's our town 250. So I think especially when the new year comes, you're going to be hearing much more about America 250. It's going to be like the bicentennial, using that symbol. So making sure that that's not actually on there, but y'all remember the bicentennial service. Yeah. So, there was a bicentennial logo that kind of carried it through. So tying it in a little more with the national, just making it clear it's not the town of Exeter 250, but America 250.
So who do you need to update that for you?
Oh, well, they will do it with us, but if y'all would send me the files so I can coordinate with them.
Okay, and what do we do need to vote on what we really want it to say.
Well,
Let's
should we
just
change?
strike the word celebrate, so it says
America
America 250, Exeter, New
Exeter.
Hampshire, I mean.
Well, should we change our committee name again? We already took off the TH. We could change it to America 250 Commission if
Thanks, Melissa.
if they agree. We could, because I can see the confusion. I know the difference, but.
Yeah, we know the
And it
difference
should be
between this
United
row.
States, it shouldn't be America, there's
Really?
a lot of countries in
Oh,
America.
goodness.
So apparently
I don't need to be difficult.
I really agree with you. And but
The
the
United States of America.
The 250th thing is saying America 250. So if we want to tie into the, America 250, I believe you, I hear you. And it's using the red, white, and blue kind of, but,
That's been a point of contention, like Boy Scouts of America versus Girl Scouts of the United States, Girl Scouts USA.
yeah.
Our country's name is the United States of America. And I understand that nationally, people think America just means one country.
Well, we can say United States of America
Come on, the
250.
Declaration of Independence says we are the United States of America.
It needs to be difficult, but.
No, let's be difficult. I
Yeah.
mean, let's
Oh,
do
we
it
don't have
right.
that many letters, though.
Well, we
Fit
can,
it all in.
let's decide.
How big a pin are we talking?
We could just say
They're little.
USA 250.
And like, if you
Yeah.
see that town of America, I'm sorry I didn't bring my Exeter pin, but they're this big. And you don't have right? There's the little ones. Because I got one at the UFO festival this week that was like the size of a silver dollar. And they had a lot more space.
I wonder if, can I try it with just a couple different things and then we can vote on
Yes,
that?
go for it.
And we can vote on kind of what looks better. I don't know if we need to vote right now.
Okay,
But
so you'll bring some thoughts.
I'll bring up some
All right,
thoughts
so the
in 2
big
weeks.
thing is that Caroline needs to send you those files.
Yeah, any graphic files you have, if you would send them to me.
You good with that,
Do
Caroline?
that, yes. I'm just in soccer mode this week. Oh, I have it. You don't need to call.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Yes, so once I get soccer going, I will get that to you.
Okay.
Okay, that sounds good.
That is actually the original logo.
Yeah.
Logo you agreed on. The one you're looking at now is just something I did, because for the same kind of reasons you just expressed. It needs something that ties it into Exeter, and especially if you're gonna put this on a logo on any of your garb, having it say commission kind of takes it away from.
Can I put you on hold for one? Is everybody okay if we run a little over?
I've got to go in about 5.
Okay, but I mean,
Yes.
So I have everything you need. If you want to change something, click it,
Yeah.
come up, type it whatever in a second.
Yeah.
So if everything I'm going to show you today is my suggestions, pre-offerings. Take it, and Caroline has access to all my stuff on the account here. And so one of the things is a potential calendar. And again, a lot of these things, not so prototype, it is not up to date. But these may be something, not necessarily fundraising, but these something you give as gifts if you donate to a certain level of sponsorship. So the latest ones, and I think I'll just show you the one that Joe should appreciate the most, but like here's an example of what the sponsorship would be like you could sell. And I took this right from Barbara's calendar. So that's just one potential revenue source. The one that I really like. And so this, I made up a mock prototype. You can put anything on this thing in any size. This is the one having that big, and quite often it may be this in a much smaller size here. And I played with a lot of different wording,
Joe, can we hold on 1 second?
Sure.
Emily is gonna have to go in a minute.
I have to leave. I'm so sorry. Is there any way you could allow me access to the Canva?
Absolutely. If you want to go right, I can put you on. If you get me your email.
Okay.
you have
I will give it
access on-
to Joe.
That would be
before you go.
perfect. And that's probably the easiest way to kind of get them yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'm so sorry, y'all,
No,
that I have
no,
to
please
take
have a
off.
happy birthday.
Thank you very
And
much.
thank you
Yeah.
for all your efforts and what you're doing, and we'll get great updates from you next time.
Okay, thank y'all very
Thanks,
much.
Em.
Take care, y'all.
Feel better?
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
feel
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
And I saw Jonathan this weekend. You could have sold 50,000 t-shirts this weekend at the UFO Festival. I mean, it was incredible.
It's amazing the number of people.
That wording of standing for independence, I love that. We have that on the front of the t-shirt. And this is the big thing that's coming up, which is an opportunity to sell t-shirts, but you could do a Memorial Day thing. That's a different project. What I was trying to show is, what I like so much is this is for a toddler. Instead of standing for,
It's crawling.
I didn't get it on there, that's a different one. Well, I have one verb that says crawling for independence. So you get them in different colors. And this is where you could go, and whether you personalize in a website where people can go to. I think that's one aspect. I would encourage you to maybe try at the Powder Keg Festival. Maybe you get an order and you try to sell them there, because the amount of people who are forking over money were.
Yeah, though and we've talked about that, is that not to print ahead, to let people order via the website, because we don't want to get stuck with swag.
I would say that at least what you need to do, or should do in my opinion, is order several different sizes and styles to have it there on display, so people can see what you have, and get a feel for the size.
I think the reason that they sell so many t-shirts at the UFO festival is because they're right there.
That's my opinion.
I hate to say it.
It's a instant gratification.
Ordering it later, I mean, when I'm at a festival, I want to be in the festival t-shirts.
That's my opinion.
I mean, we are talking about a whole year's worth of events, but we got 2 orders for our UFO Exeter Historical Society stickers this weekend. If we'd had sales down there and stickers available, we would have sold a ton.
That's a
Those are
decision that
$2.50.
you guys will have to make.
That's our decision, okay.
This is just things I gave Carolyn for some of these are pictures in the thing, some of these are potential banners. Like for this one here, you could constantly just click that on and put anything you want in that space. You ask for a picture of 4 people in front of the Powder House, well, Those are two, on the right, are two actual enactors at the AMI Fest I had for years. I just superimposed them on this, and the two things on the left are AI-generated images. All I did with this one is add in the powder keg, similar things. So you have, I'm just trying to provide you with content. What you do with it is completely your own choice. I went through that as fast as I possibly could, because I know you're pressed for time.
I mean, I'm sure we could sell 500 of each size of the shirts. You know, we wouldn't have to order 10,000, but we could order 500 and have them at the powder keg, at the powder keg festival. And I'm sure they'd sell out, and then we could know for the next time.
Well, and to your,
We'll see.
yeah, when's powder keg?
October 4th.
So that's like tomorrow.
Yeah.
Would be, so I'm leaving you pictures
But we're
of
talking about
T-shirts,
next year's.
pictures of the calendar.
No, I think they're talking about
No, I
this year.
think we're also talking about going in.
He's talking
Yeah.
about this year,
I would think
in 4 weeks.
you'd be selling them, yes,
Start
this
early.
year. I think, I mean, we weren't ready. It would have been great to hit Memorial Day, the American Independence Festival, the UFO weekend. Those would have been great opportunities
The
to sell this
pre-sale so
back
that
in
you have
advance.
it to wear next year.
But
So
Yeah.
we need to have a
I
swag
also-
conversation.
I also think you could sell it next year, because it's still the $250
Yes,
of
yes,
these events.
yes.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Yeah,
so
both.
it wouldn't really matter.
I think if we had it now, it's just gonna kind of go over people's heads, because it's not actually.
It's not the year yet.
Yeah, so I think we
But it's
can,
a way of raising
I
funds.
think we should have a discussion around swag and when to make it available. And Joe, let me get your email address if I
I
might,
will give you a card.
and then I will send you Emily's contact
Thank you so much.
information.
Yes,
Thank you
thank you,
so much.
Joe.
You have put so much into this.
The reason I'm here, guys, is it's not my history nut. Julie, I think you asked at the last meeting for a book recommendation.
Yes.
This is just a section of my little home personal library.
Oh,
I
I got
suggest
your email address.
this book, it's all 46 pages, it's Thomas Paine's Common Sense, ties into the entire 250th celebration. That document is considered probably the most important document of the Revolutionary period. An alternative, 13 American Arguments, which goes great with your Bill of Rights, as does the 10 obligations. Anyways,
Oh, that's great.
this is my
Thank you.
super serious history. I'm just trying to help out. This is all, that's yours. All of this stuff is
You
yours.
get these copies for us.
Yeah, hand it down to me.
Pass that over.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. And like I said, Caroline has access to all this stuff. I'll continue to play with this stuff, pass it along. If you have specifics, just let me know. It takes seconds to change this stuff. You can have anything. T-shirts can have any emblem, sizes, shapes, colors. It's easy to do. So just let me know.
Thank you
Thank
so,
you.
so much.
Thank
My
you.
pleasure.
Thank you for taking the time to come
Thank you.
present us
Not a
today.
problem.
Okay, wow. Any final comments? I think we need to wrap up today, but we do, we've gone over time, and we do have any other, though, public or committee member updates that they want to give real quick.
I'm just not here next meeting. I'm at our national conference.
I know.
I'm sorry. But
Can we Zoom?
yeah,
Excuse me for a second. You have Melissa's bag.
I don't know if that's Julie's or Melissa's, but I'll bring it up.
Green, it's fine.
It's green, okay.
Okay, great. Thank you, Barry.
Thank you, Joe.
I just have a
Thank you.
question about the buttons, since we don't want to confuse people between the commission and the federal celebration. If we say something like Exeter Wear Independence.
Well,
What's that
so I
phrase?
think
And then-
Emily's gonna bring us some examples. I'm also thinking about, like, do we need to incorporate the national 250 logo somewhere?
The only reason I'm saying that is because we also talked about confusion between our celebration,
Yes.
which is not founding of the town,
Right,
so.
yeah.
I mean, it's easy enough to add the America 250 logo to all of our materials.
Well, you're not when you're looking at a button
Not
side
on, but
border.
like to our printed materials.
Yeah. So I think that needs to be a real,
we need to do a deep dive on kind of swag in general.
Yeah.
Right, and what is gonna be our accepted logo and then how we're gonna run with it. Because everything that Joe's provided is lovely, but I think we need to land on something.
Also, Captain Parker, that's the statue in Lexington.
I was
I'm from
curious about that
Lexington.
myself.
I mean, we have to think about it as a copyrighted anyway, can we
Yeah.
use it?
Yeah.
It doesn't belong there. If it was the Minuteman
Stark.
statue, at least it would have been designed by a guy that was born in
Right,
Exeter,
Chester
but
French.
it's not. So
Yeah, I think the
we gotta keep it
fist.
simple. I think this is still a little busy. We need to just take a few things off.
Is his name Fit? No, what's the other guy? The one in Concord is designed by Chester.
Daniel Chester French.
Your gears are going.
He was born in
Do you
Exeter.
have something?
Yes,
Very
yes,
cool.
yes. Yeah, his
You're
house
good.
is right next door to our building. Yeah.
I mean, but then, then I look at the calendar, like, is that something that
Yeah, that's nice.
Okay, so we need to have a swag conversation.
we need a swag conversation, but the other piece
Does
of that,
next meeting then have to be budget first and then swag, or what?
I think it's budget and swag. We need to, Melissa will send, but you're not gonna be here.
I can develop it further and
Maybe you and I can get together?
yes,
Oh,
yes,
okay.
yes, yes. We can definitely do that.
Okay. So review budget. I shouldn't be too
Bless you.
So you and I'll get together,
Yes.
so at least I can speak coherently on the budget next time and speak specifically on budget and swag. One concern I have about this is you all do a calendar, and I don't wanna compete with you.
No, our calendar, it's true. We do $500 for the thing here.
Right.
At Riverwoods, give us $500, we'll put you on. We give the calendar for free to our members. So paid members for the Historical Society receive it.
The fundraising part of it for us is getting the sponsorship.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
but I don't
And
wanna
that's
even
just
compete for the
6,000.
sponsor.
You won't be
Oh,
competing.
no,
This
you're
is
not
a
competing.
completely
This is a one-year thing.
It's a 1 year thing.
Elliot Berkowitz, this is a one-year deal. Okay, I'll give you $500 or $1,000.
Right, but we're
It's
asking
not
to,
every year. Well, we're not sure we're asking yet. We haven't decided to do a calendar.
all right.
And who are you gonna give it to? You're gonna make it for, I don't know. We'll have to talk about it.
Okay.
One last comment on swag. I was talking to the UFO crew, the Kiwanis Club, and the in-house artists at Minuteman Press did their poster, and I just thought it was wonderful.
That's great.
Yeah,
T-shirt,
super
yeah,
cool.
great, yeah.
So that's just a nugget
In
of
terms of
information.
So for Minuteman Press.
Yeah,
And
in-house
that's keeping
artists
it local.
designed their
Where's that?
poster.
Yeah, that was
It's right now, it's up by Front Row Pizza
And they include.
on Epping Road. Yeah.
Yes.
They did all the T-shirts and everything.
Yeah, it was incredible. Like, I just loved the poster, and I guess they've done it the last 4 years.
And the idea of keeping it local as opposed to, okay. Okay.
That's just
Unless
Joe's
some other
pretty
company
local, too.
watches,
Yes.
would like to
Yes,
contact us.
right. Yes, right, good point. Joe, you had something you wanted to add?
No, I mean, I coming from where I come from, and then there's no trademark or anything like that, but when independence starts getting thrown around on material and on shirts and stuff like that, it's there's so much oxygen in the room. And I go back to the whole question of, we're fundraising next year and we're doing 250th and we're doing stuff. And then I think there's a lot of potential for some confusion. So if, John, you go and knock on a door, and then I go and knock on a door trying to raise money, and we just want to make sure that we have our ducks in a row and that we have an understanding around that.
You're forever, though.
Right,
This
but
is
that's
just a one-time deal.
I get that, and you get that.
Yeah.
But Johnny, who doesn't pay much attention, might not get that.
No, I can explain it to whoever I'm talking to.
And honestly, I see things like this, and I appreciate Joe put, the Lad Gilman there with a Riverwoods ad on it. It's so Lad Gilman images there with a Riverwoods ad that's going somewhere that's not us.
Right.
Right,
And
but I
so
also think that building's an important piece of town history, not
It
just
evolved, and the town can fund it. I'm not trying to be.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be glib when I say
agree
that.
with Joe. I think that in order to keep that confusion down, that we can't use that logo.
We can't use
that
any-
image.
Well, we just probably,
Well, that's why we
probably
picked
wouldn't
the
be in there.
powerhouse,
Yeah,
so.
exactly. And I get all that. And again, I am the last thing I'm trying to be as difficult. I want to be as helpful as I can possibly be here. But I have a responsibility to.
But I think
to
it's
be
even
safe.
bigger than that. I think it is about keeping the confusion down, and I do think we need to, as much as
I'm not in love with it. I don't love the 250 logo, the national one, frankly. But I think we have to incorporate it, and I think that needs to be a much bigger part of our conversation in terms of how we're messaging this. And that, AIM is forever. AIM, that is, we are the Revolutionary War capital. We need to focus, that's good. That story needs to keep being told. That is just what's setting Exeter apart in celebrating this country's 250th is that we are the Revolutionary War capital. We have our own original copy of, right? So I think that lifts us up and how we have the conversation.
Yep.
I just want to be mindful of how we approach it.
Yeah, and that's why I think talking about budget and swag and how we're doing that. I mean, how, and the same with the Historical Society. I don't want to trip on that either. And so it's like, whatever swag
We care more about the 400th. I do anyway.
Yeah. I'm just trying to be. There's just a lot. If just like the budget.
AIM focuses on about 10 years of history. We do 300 and so that's how I think of the Historical Society.
Right,
but you're expanding this.
You're not going to step on our toes.
You're not going to step on our toes.
We're here to protect it.
We focus only on one town, and you have a broader reach.
Yeah. Right.
That's,
And it is much more than 10 years, because guess what? The experiment's not over.
Yeah, well.
All things being said. But I just think we have to be mindful of how we
It's my birthday.
do it. That's all. Am I making sense? Yep. Yeah. And I love all the programming you're offering, by the way. Thank you. I got all of that. Okay. Meeting. Would someone like to move to adjourn the meeting finally?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Now I can ask, have you officially
Thank
been
you for tuning in
tonight?
to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content